Trucking, got my chips cashed in, keep trucking like the Doodah Man.
You are Morris, Hall of Fame coach, three-time Yeshiva champion, the Father Flanagan of the Center for Saving Underprivileged Youth, the Hosni Mubarak of the Yeshiva League. Like I said, I mentioned Hosni Mubarak because, like, you know, when you came into coaching, you said...
Don't mention the other name you used to because,
David Dinkins? Well, the all-time nice guy, one of the all-time nice guys in Yeshiva coaching and anywhere else, David Dinkins. And despite what some people say that you don't know what you're doing, I disagree. I think you know what you're doing, Truck, and I think you're a great coach.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Some people, you know, we're just out there. Truck. You've been working the sidelines for over 30 years now. You've been doing everything alone. How did you bring Coach Goldberg in, and how does the dynamic of co-coaches work? Who gets his name in the paper after a victory or after a defeat? And who makes a decision as far as defenses and as far as late game time decisions?
We get our names in the paper. What paper do we get our names in?
I don't know. You know, the metaphorically speaking, of course.
How about one question at a time? There were 4 questions in that.
There was one question.
Okay, what was it again?
The question is, how does the dynamic of co-coaching work?
It's give and take. It's, you know, compromise. Sometimes it's arguing. Sometimes it's, you know, it's as we get mad at each other. Sometimes we don't, but it's compromise.
Has that been a difficult adjustment for you?
No, it's taken a few years, but sure, it's an adjustment for CSV as well. But, you know, the great thing about it is he believes in one thing and I believe in the other, and that's why it works.
So who makes the late game decisions now?
It's give and take. You know, we'll try to sit down and talk about it and come to a solution. And sometimes it doesn't work that way, but that's what we try to do. Richie Lepstein is. We've been coaching together since 2006. And
what did you find? What did you bring him in from?
Richie. We saw him in shul. We went to shul together in Beth Torah, and unfortunately that year he had a tragic event in his life. His first wife passed away, and
God rest his soul.
And he had a tough time with her. She had cancer, and so to take his mind off things, I said, Richie, and we always used to talk basketball and sports, I invited him to come sit down on the bench with me, and one thing led to another, and here we are, 12 years later. He's still with me, and a great friend.
What have been some of the things that he's brought to the table?
Danny. He brings everything to the table. I mean, besides yourself, Giddy, he's the second most knowledgeable person in here in basketball.
Oh, thank you.
He really does. And it's a shame because he should be coaching now. He should be fully coaching, not assistant coaching, not doing the book. He should be involved in coaching. He has so much to offer. And some of the kids, you know, don't understand that.
You've been a primarily man-to-man coach throughout your career. What's been the sudden shift to play zone? Have you evolved, or has the players evolved? Have things changed? Why start playing zones?
We haven't stopped playing zone. There's no transformation. It's just, again, it's just compromise. We're doing what Svi believes in and doing what I believe in. It's compromise. My man-to-man beliefs have not gone anywhere. As a matter of fact, no defense can be played without teaching the fundamentals of man-to-man. It is the foundation of any defense, and I always believe it. And again, given the task of doing it alone, probably 80% of the time we be man-to-man. But we're, like you said, we're co-coaching, and it's compromise, and it's discussion, and it's we work things out. Well, it's after it was my first year at YDE, and Svi, who was at JC for I don't know how many years, but it was a long time, was no longer in his coaching position, and there was an opportunity presented itself, and we were good friends, and I just said, Svi, come on in, and thankfully he said yes. Playoffs is a crapshoot. You don't know. We're going to try and get all our ducks in a row, try to get the bye and try to get our home court, but that remains to be seen. There was 3 championships, not just one. So every one of those 3 were great moments.
Is it always a disappointment when you lose, when you don't win the championship?
No. You don't consider a season a success or not a success just by simply winning a championship. You could achieve. Last year was a success. We went to the playoffs. We went to the quarterfinals. We won a round and we lost in the quarterfinals. But the year was a success.
Overall, so you're not one of the proponents of like the finishing second is finishing last method.
Not here. I mean, it's hard for the kids, you know. You have schools here with enrollments of 500 boys as opposed to schools with enrollment of 50 boys. It's not fair. You got to every level of your degree of success depends on what you make it out to be.
Katz, for you making any adjustments in your coaching career?
Definitely when I met Coach Katz in the center. Danny, what was it, 95? 94? Somewhere around there, yeah.
He doesn't eat meat after 10 o'clock.
He had a big influence on my coaching career, as well as Danny's, definitely, and all for the good.
How long have you and Danny been together?
Danny, I don't know. When we it wasn't Sephardic, was it? It was at Mag and David the first year, I guess it was 1994.
94, and then you finished Mag and David at 2010, or something like that. And then you went to Sade for a year. What happened in Sade?
Not much. I wasn't a coach. I was a quote-unquote athletic director, but I really, athletic director, security guard. That was my position.
Security guard.
Exactly what it turned out to be, yeah.
So you weren't coaching there, and then you moved on to YDE after that.
And I moved on to YDE. The opportunity presented itself the year after for YDE, and I moved on, yes.
How do you compare coaching 30 years ago to today?
In what way? I mean,
In a nutshell, getting to the players, motivating players.
well, of course, there's a big communication gap now between me and the players. When I first started coaching, I was only 4 or 5 years older than the boys. We'd go out to eat afterwards. We'd share moments after the game. Now I'm old enough to be this kid's father and more. So Danny likes that more, yeah.
If you can't motivate your players, you don't belong in this business.
Something, winning cures everything. If you won, you don't have to motivate your players. If you could grace all these kids with your knowledge, you should.
Who was the greatest player that you ever coached?
That's
I understand that.
it's A.B. Dweck. There's hands down.
How would A.B. Dweck fare in the league today?
He'd be just as dominant.
Was he a college-level material player?
Definitely.
He could have played in Division I. You don't think some say that he would be like a dime a dozen kind of player? Because, I mean, a lot of guys have that athletic ability of his.
He had the athletic ability. The only thing he needed to polish his small player skills. In other words, in the Yeshiva League, he played a 4 or a 5 for the most part. He needed to polish his 2 or 3 skills to be a Division I player. But he had the body, he had the legs, he had everything.
It's less than 8 minutes. You've coached in Mag and David for 17 years. I mean, from my perspective, is like I saw that they keep renewing your contract and bringing you back every year. You must be doing something right. Now, I thought that they would have the Morris Truck Dweck Court at Mag and David. If you could briefly explain to us what happened with Mag and David.
I told you I wasn't going to get into that.
Okay. That's definitely fair enough, and we won't pry. Any coaching mentors that you have in the league, or people that you look up to in the league?
What do you mean?
As far as coaches, like Coach Sandusky at,
Leslie.
or Gelber, or
I look up to all those guys. They're all great friends. As a matter of fact, we had a coach's dinner a couple of weeks ago, and the old guard kind of got together. So it was we keep in touch. And
telling old war stories.
no more stories.
So no coaches. What about college or NBA pro coaches? Any influences?
No, just Coach Katz is my man. That's it. You hear that, Harold?
Coach Katz is your man. What about somebody like Mike Bray? I know you're a big fan of his. You at his clinic.
I like Tom Izzo a little bit, but it's about
The Big Ten kind of coaches.
It's about creating your own style. The Yeshiva League is an animal in itself, and you have to develop your own style around that.
I mean, this team, Lois, graduated 4 senior starters, primarily two all-league players, and now they're on the cusp of clinching the division title, despite the loss tonight, of course.
We blew it tonight. I told the boys there's not too many opportunities in life, especially to clinch first place, and we let one slip away today. Hopefully we'll learn from it, then we'll catch Tuesday. But again, what was the question?
What do you attribute to success? How did you get these guys? I mean, you don't have you don't have a very talented group out there.
Svi and I, we talked before the season, and we were really discussing what the potential upcoming season will look like, and we thought it'd be we were fighting for our playoff lives, and we'd be 7-7 or somewhere around there, and here we are, 10-2 coming into this game now, 10-3, and with the opportunity to clinch first place, we never saw it coming, Giddy. We never saw it coming. We have good balance. We have Jack, who's really evolved as a shooter and as a player. We have Kesri, who took over the point guard. They just grew into their roles, and now they have good balance. We have good balance.
How much longer do you see yourself doing this?
I can't answer that. I don't know.
Well, you've been in the game for a while, so why not stay in it?
Hey, look, as Danny says, what do you say? I'm getting older. He always tells me to get to the doctor every year, which I do, Danny.
He goes to the doctor.
Yeah. But we'll see. 1 year at a time, Kitty. 1 year at a time.
Hopefully, we'll have your signature on that center floor over there, the Morris Truck Direct Court, because that's something well deserved for you, Coach.
Trucking, got my chips cashed in. Keep trucking, like the Doodah Man. Together, more or less in line. Just keep trucking on.